Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to do this lesson number 3, that is deep waters. The lesson that talks of, fear. Fear and how to conquer that fear. Let us make a recap of this lesson, that is the protagonist, William Douglas. He is fearful. You open the lesson number 3. You keep your books open, Flamingo. Please open your books. And the chapter starts with the beginning that when the mother of William Douglas used to stop him from going to the river. And this river was very treacherous. And he wanted to learn swimming, and he wanted to learn swimming and he wanted to conquer this fear of swimming, but his mother used to stop him, and he decided to go to YMCA pool to learn swimming. So here the lesson starts, but the YMCA pool was safe and Yakima River was treacherous. So mother used to remind, as generally the mothers, they remind, don't go near the riverside, you may be in trouble. So I'm on page number, you can say 23 of Flamingos, right? Of Flamingo. Yes. Now, page number 25. He had an aversion, he had a disliking for water. And what happened in his life? A misadventure took place. What is this? I've written on the board, children. Misadventure. His father, when he was 3 years old, took him on the seaside. He fell down and the wave overpowered him, and he was afraid, and his father was laughing and enjoying this, but he was afraid. So he shares that one misadventure that took place in his life, right? My introduction to water when I was 3, page number 25 on the top. This started when I was 3 or 4 years old. And father took me to the beach in California. He and I stood together in the surf. I hung on to him, yet the waves knocked me down and swept over me. So once it had happened that the waves had overpowered him, I was buried in water and I was afraid. My breath was gone. I was frightened. Father laughed, but there was no terror. But there was terror in my heart, at the overpowering force of the waves. Now, the second misadventure that took place. He grew up a little bit. He started going to YMCA pool. And when he had started going there, a big bruiser of 18. So, 2 instances of misadventure. But the first one with the father that he remembers with the father when he was 3 years old. But this was not that misadventure that you need to write in the answer. The second one, when he was at YMCA pool. And what happened there? A big bruiser of 18 years or so, a strong boy, strong specimen of physical strength, threw him into the pool. I'll read for you. I went to the pool when no one else was there. Page number 25. The place was quiet, the water was still, and the tile bottom was as white and clean as a bathtub. I was timid about going in alone, so I sat on the side of the pool to wait for others. There was no one that day at the pool. And what happened? The misadventure. I had not been there long when in came a big bruiser. This is actually the answer for the first question and the revision that we are doing. That what was the misadventure that took place in Douglas' life that changed his way of thinking and his outlook? The misadventure is I had not been there long when in came a big cruiser of a boy, probably 18 years old. He had thick hair on his chest. He was a beautiful physical specimen with legs and arms showed rippling muscles. Muscular boy. He yelled, "Hi, skinny, how would you like to be that?" With that, he picked me up and tossed me into the deep water, deep pool. I landed in a sitting position in the pool, swallowed water, and went at once to the bottom. I was frightened. This was the misadventure. You can make a note, keep your pencil in your hand. You can underline the part where I have read, that is page number 25. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, fourth paragraph. What is the misadventure? Right? William Douglas had a terrifying experience as a child that made him almost afraid of getting into water. He already did not like being close to water, but he wanted to learn swimming. He used to go insane, mad in front of water. However, when he had just about to get over it and was learning to swim, he was thrown into the pool by a big bruiser, tough boy of 18 years old. This experience left him terrified. He strived hard to come out of water in vain till he lost consciousness. Later, he found himself lying on the stomach vomiting. Since then, he found himself paralyzed in water and avoided water. So my first point, that what is the misadventure that took place in Douglas' life. Now this was the misadventure when he was thrown by an 18-year-old boy into the pool and he became unconscious, and when he came back to his senses, he found himself lying on the side of the pool when 2, 3 people were helping him out. They took him inside the room and the chambers, and then he came home. But this experience of dying left him, seeing his death approaching in the pool when he was thrown. When he had just started moving his limbs and legs and hands, 3 days have or 2 days have been passed, and he started going little freely. He met with this accident, this misadventure. Right? So the first misadventure was where the father took him to the seaside or the beach when he was 3 years old. But the major misadventure, which we can call as misadventure, was this at YMCA pool. It was the third day at the pool. Effect of this experience. The next question. This experience left him terrified, paralyzed, perplexed, petrified. You can note down, you can write the effect of the experience. When he reached home, he felt weak and trembling. He cried and lay down on his bed depressed. He couldn't eat that night. For days he felt that fear gripping him always, made him unsteady in the knees. His knees used to feel wobbly, shaking knees, couldn't stand for many days, made him unsteady in his knees, and his stomach brimmed with anxiety. There was always something gurgling happening in the stomach, right? Some sounds from the stomach of anxiety. When you feel anxious, you feel something in the stomach. So that anxiety feeling was always there. So, effect of the experience. I'm on this point now, children. Effect of the experience. You can remember the points. You can remember the points and then we can learn them also. You can underline also if you have opened the book. When he reached home, he felt weak and trembling. So he was weak and trembling. He couldn't eat. He felt depressed, weak, timid. He cried and cried. And he felt a haunting fear, a fear that gripped him completely. The grip of the fear haunted him. So, effect of this misadventure, right? Now, anxiety, right? Anxiety feelings, then slightest exertion would upset him. He was tired very early, fatigue. This was his problem. He used to feel wobbly, shaking. His knees used to shake when he used to get up. If he wanted to learn swimming and try to, not swimming, even general, he couldn't think of swimming now. He never went back to the pool. This was his experience. He feared water and avoided whenever he could. But the next phase of the lesson, let me tell you, dear children, what all happened to him in the form of adventure is described from page number 25 to 26, right? And the entire description is given this way. I flailed at the surface of the water, swallowed and choked. This is when he's suffering, when the boy threw him into the water and he came on the surface, then he went down, and 2-3 times this is happening. And his body has, as if gained a lot of weight, he has become heavy. Paralyzed and rigid, a great force was pulling me under. I screamed, but nobody heard my voice. He was screaming underwater, but no one could listen to him. Only dark, yellowish, dirty water. My lungs ached, my head throbbed. I was getting dizzy. That means I was losing my consciousness. But I remembered this strategy. He kept on telling himself that I have a strategy. I'll jump out of the water. The moment I will get to the edge of the pool, I'll be safe. I'll catch hold of something. So these few seconds and the death that approached, and the final moment when he became unconscious, at that time he might have felt that now I'm going, I won't be able to come out. So there was sheer, stark terror that seized him. Please, you can make a note of this, that what was this terror? Terror, sharp terror, okay? Stark terror, stark terror that left him petrified, that left him rigid, that left him with that irresistible force, the force that he couldn't oppose. So he kept on thinking, even when he is stuck up in the water, he's thinking, and this stark terror seized me, terror that knows no understanding. I want you to underline this line on page number 26, terror that knows no understanding, terror that knows no control, terror that no one can understand who has not experienced it. Only those people will be able to understand my fear of getting stuck in water for those few seconds. When I found death approaching me, right? So I was paralyzed underwater, stiff, rigid with fear. Even the screams in my throat were frozen. Only my heart and pounding in my head said I was still alive. We see Discovery channels and all, and we might have seen in our childhood, I used to personally see, I shouldn't be alive. So the people have shared their experiences through videos and all, that I should not have been, or I would not have been alive if I had not got this, or their mountaineering experiences, and on heights and on in depths and so many things. So this is just like that he was about to die. What happened next? The later part of the explanation, that my legs felt limp and blackness swept over my eyes, and finally I became unconscious. There was peace. When you are losing your consciousness, you are silent, you are quiet. The darkness covered his eyes and mind and all. So what is happening here? Peace, nothing, and then he became unconscious. And when he came back to his senses, he was nearby outside the pool, lying on his stomach side, and people were helping him out, and they were making him vomit so that the water may come out of his stomach. And then several hours later, I walked home. Now, there was one more paragraph on page number 27. The next I remember was lying on my stomach beside the pool vomiting. The chap who threw me in was saying, but I was just only fooling. I was just doing, a little bit of fun. You're throwing someone in the water, and he said, I was just doing fun, right? And I was just fooling. Someone said, that kid nearly died. Your fun and mockery and your making fun of others have killed someone. Be all right now. Let's carry him to the locker room. So they carried him to the locker room. Then I discussed with you what was the effect of this experience on this particular boy. After that, he decided that he will conquer this fear. So for that, he hired an instructor. An instructor was hired. So we are on this point now, dear children. The third point that I written on the board, that is instructor's role. He decided, and whenever he used to go near the water bodies and all, his beauty and his fishing trips got spoiled because he was afraid of water. And he did not want to be afraid of water, but he was afraid. He knew this. And not to just afraid, stark terror always seized him whenever he was close to water. So somewhere insight, learning, insight, inspiration. Inspiration is insight. So insightful learning guided him that I have to conquer my fear. And how did he conquer this fear? See, he hired an instructor to learn swimming. For this, he needed to learn swimming. What was the role of instructor? So I'm giving you some points to keep in mind for this particular point, that is instructor's role. The instructor did 2 to 3 things very importantly. What he did was he put his head and heart together. Now what is this putting head and heart together? What do you think and what you do? So head, heart, what are you thinking coming out? Making strategy, head, heart and hand also, action also. So how did this instructor help him out? He started his training. He made him learn by putting a rope on his waist. He put a belt around him to which a rope was attached. You know, when you make someone do adventures and adventure sports, the belts are tied and you do that and then you come back and feel the real adventure. But actually you are safe because you have tied a belt around your waist and your hands and you put on that jacket. And you know that there is no risk, right? So this way he started his swimming. The instructor put a belt around his body and a rope was attached, or a rope sort of belt, a belt sort of rope. The rope went through the pulley that ran with the help of the cable. Douglas swam like this for weeks. He swam in this manner with the rope and the belt attached to his body for weeks, and the instructor used to stand on the edge of the pool and he was safe and he started learning this way. Then he taught Douglas the second point, instructor's role I am talking, we are discussing. The second, the instructor taught him to exhale and inhale in water. A very important step to learn swimming. Your breathing exercise, right? So he made him learn, he taught Douglas to exhale and inhale in water and to raise his nose and inhale and to go inside and whatever the activity is. Then after this diligent practice, first made him practice with a rope, with a pulley attached to it and controlled that activity. Then second, taught him how to breathe in and out and inside and outside and all. And this diligent practice he was able to, shun his fear to some extent. The panic situation was reduced to some extent. Then the instructor also made him kick his legs, hands. Gradually, this made him fearless and little perfection, not perfection, but little experience and practical learning he gained. Finally, the master put all the 3 steps together and left him in the pool to do on his own. And integrated all the 3 steps, moving your hands and legs, inhaling and exhaling, and how to be in water with the swimming gestures and all. So finally the master put all his perfected practices together into an integrated whole, which resulted him as an accomplished swimmer. The instructor's role by teaching him in steps, 3 to 4 steps, and then combining those steps as an integrated whole. And when he has mastered all these, perfected all these steps, he told him to swim on his own. And this way, the instructor made him an accomplished swimmer. Right? All the students, keep your videos on, beta. Right? Okay. Now moving on to the next part. The first part was misadventure, effect of this experience, instructor's role, and conquering of fear by William Douglas. Now this fear, how did he conquer? This is the most important question. This is the most important part of the lesson. Detailed question, NCERT question, and the gist of the lesson, because deep water talks of fear and how William Douglas conquered this fear. And let me read out for you the preface which is given in the beginning, or the about the author. William Douglas is the author of this lesson, was born in Mine, Minnesota. After graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in English and Economics, he spent 2 years teaching high school in Yakima. However, he got rid of this and decided to pursue a legal career. He met Franklin D. Roosevelt at Yale and became an advisor and friend to the president. So, legal advisor of the president. See the position of the person. And if we go back into his childhood, he was afraid of water. Many of us are afraid of water and swimming. Right? So this way, if we go back to such a great personality, and later on, Douglas was a leading advocate of individual rights. He retired in 1975 with a term lasting of 36 years and remained the longest serving justice in the history of the court. So he remained that for a longer period, longest serving justice in the history of the court. The following excerpt is taken from Of Men and Mountains by William Douglas. This is just an extract from his experience from his book Of Men and Mountains by William O. Douglas. It reveals how, as a young boy, William Douglas was afraid, nearly drowned in a swimming pool. And in this essay, he talks about his fear of water, and thereafter how he finally overcame it. And notice the autobiographical way of writing this lesson, how he has described. So very important part, we have moved on. Now it is, that is Conquering of Fear by William Douglas. So we are on this part now. Right? I hope this much is clear, children. This much part you have understood.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
Yes, ma'am.
Douglas underwent a horrific experience. I hope now you can answer what is that horrific experience. My question is, see, you understand the question also. Douglas underwent a horrific experience. Do you know that horrific experience now after attending the class? Yes. Why does he recount his childhood experience? If you see NCERT questions, they are the same. How did he conquer it? How did he conquer the fear? What larger meaning does it draw from this experience? So 3 questions in a question, long question, right? Let us answer the first part. Why does he recount his childhood experience? Why do we remember, recall those experiences of ours that have taken place in our childhood? What happens when we recall them? First, we gain strength, that you were victorious one, you were successful. The times were tough. Why do people recall their tough times? Because they get strength. They remember how they have conquered those tough times. So, the answer for the first question, why does he recount his childhood experience? His first experience with water came at the beach with his father. A powerful wave passed over him, almost drowning him. The other experience was at YMCA pool, or in YMCA pool. He recalls how petrified he was. He recounts to rejoice his victory. Why does he recount? He recounts his childhood experience to justify, to rejoice, to feel cherished that he conquered that tough lesson of life, or toughest fear that he had. He conquered that, which made him an accomplished swimmer. Second question, how did he conquer it? We were discussing this. Douglas conquered this with his determination, grit, and willpower. You can say with simple words, you can remember, with his determination and will. Will and determination. He understood that whenever he tried, the terrorizing memory of the pool would haunt him, would follow him, and would spoil all his learning expeditions. He found himself under the grip of this fear, which paralyzed him, which made him petrified, stiff, rigid, which did not allow him to enjoy his trips nearby water. His fishing trips got spoiled. But with the help of the instructor, combined with his own perseverance, with the help of the instructor, we cannot deny the teacher's role, the trainer's role, the coach's role. So here also, the trainer has played an important role, teaching him step by step, combining those steps, and but with the help of his trainer, combined with his own perseverance and will to fight. His diligence, his hard work. What is diligence? Hard work. What is perseverance? The continuous hard work is diligence. You're not tired, you're doing and doing. Made him an accomplished winner. Third question that I've added with this, what larger meaning does he draw from this experience? A person who has never done a mistake has never tried anything new. Albert Einstein. You do not do mistakes, you have not learned anything in your life. So this applies here also. He was afraid, he was victorious. So now moving, he feels that the experience had left an indelible imprint. What larger meaning when we conquer something like this, when we fight with that fighting spirit, we feel victorious, and this victory is ours. It cannot be understood by others. You become more stronger. So why he recounted to rejoice. What larger meaning does he draw? This gives him strength, deep meaning for him as he had conquered fear. He has not conquered any person or a territory. He has conquered his own fear. Stark terror. I've written on the board. You need to learn this term, stark terror. His victory over stark terror. He learned that with the faculties of mind and spirit. And we can also write that with the faculties of mind and spirit, you can gain anything, you can accomplish, achieve anything. And sharing this experience, the larger meaning is sharing this experience not only gave him joy, not only made him more stronger, but it also taught others in the form of a writing piece when he shares through a book that there are often fears, but there nothing is impossible. So larger meaning is there is lot of fear, and there is lot of fear in dying, and how much fear it creates when you are dying. So death has tremendous fear, and it can produce and would be tremendously useful. His experience would be tremendously useful to others who live in fears. Those who will learn from his experience that how come they can conquer those fears. So indelible mark it has left on his mind, and his experience when shared with others had also made them high spirit to fight with the challenges, to combat with the struggles, and come out victorious. I hope all the 4 points of the lesson, that is misadventure, effect of the experience, instructor's role, and conquering of fear by William Douglas. How did he conquer? Why did he recount this experience? What gives him when what he receives when he what does he receive when he recounts this experience, and what larger meaning does it have? The last line of the lesson before ending the class, I'll read out for you that what larger meaning. As I at last, I had experienced both the sensation of dying and the terror that it can produce. At last, I felt released, free to walk the trails and climb the peaks. And he shouted at the Gilbert Peak that he shouted there's a line in the lesson, I have conquered my fear. I have conquered my fear of water. He shouted, and the Gilbert Peak and the in the vicinity, that it echoed back. You shout like this, scream, it echoes back. Right? So this way, I hope you have understood the lesson, dear children. I hope you have understood the lesson, dear students.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Nicely? Nicely?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
Yes, ma'am.
Continue, right? Please attend the classes. Very good. Keep on attending like this. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.